Hey everyone, in this video we're going to graph the function f of x is equal to negative 2x to the fourth plus 2x cubed. And I'm going to start by looking at the overall characteristic of this graph. And negative 2 and 4 are going to tell me that. The degree of my graph is 4, which means we're going to have the same, I call it the same, both pointing up or both pointing down, end behavior. So either like this or like that. And since negative 2 is less than 0, that means both ends are pointing downward. So it's not these up pointing sides, it's these down pointing sides. That's what we're going to have for our end behavior. Great. Next, we're going to find the zeros. So we're going to set 0 equal to negative 2x to the fourth plus 2x cubed. And as usual, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to do some factoring. And I think we're going to want to pull a negative 2 out of both sides of this, which would give us x to the fourth minus x cubed. And then we can also pull x cubed out of this. So we'll get 0 is equal to negative 2 x cubed times x minus 1. Great. That gives us our two zeros. X is equal to 0 and 1. Now that's only two zeros. So I think we're going to need some more information. And notice that this is to the third degree and this is to the first degree. So both of these zeros are going to behave linearly. This will pass through 0 linearly. It will pass through 1 linearly, not quadratically. It's not going to make a turn at that 0. That's not what's going to happen in this case. Let's look for some more points. And I think we can start with negative 1. Let's find f of negative 1. That's negative 2 times negative 1 to the fourth plus 2 times negative 1 cubed. So this will be negative 2 times 1 plus 2 times negative 1. Hey, that's minus 2 minus 2. So f of negative 1 is equal to negative 4. Okay, what about 2? F of 2 is going to be equal to, see, I'm just going 1 out from each of these zeros to start. F of 2 is negative 2 times 2 to the, not 25, but 2 to the fourth. I'm thinking ahead of myself, and I'm thinking that that's going to be 2 to the fifth. So 2 to the fourth plus 2 times 2 cubed, which this will be 2 to the fourth. So it's negative 2 to the fifth plus 2 to the fourth, which is negative, what is that, 32 plus 16. F of 2 is equal to a negative 16. So this thing gets very steep, very negative, very fast. And I'm sure if we were to look at f of negative 2, we'd have about the same thing. We would have a negative 2 times negative 2 to the fourth plus 2 times negative 2 cubed. This would end up being a negative 2 to the fifth minus 2 to the fourth, which is negative 32 minus 16. F of negative 2 is equal to a negative 48. That's very negative. This thing's going to be very steep coming out of those zeros. Okay, let's do what we can to graph it. So we need our zeros at 0. And the other one was at 1. At negative 1, we're at negative 2, is it? Negative 1, we're at negative 4. At negative 2, we're way negative, so I'm just going to point this down right here. And then at 2, we're way positive, so I'm just going to point this up right here. And I know I'm passing through both of these linearly. you know, I really kind of want to know what's going on there at 1/2. And maybe this is the type of situation where I'd actually pull out a calculator and take a look at it and say, what's going on at -2 times 1/2 to the 4th plus 2 times 1/2 cubed. So -2 times 1/2 to the 4th, good, plus 2 times 1/2 cubed, good. 1.25, so that's 1/8. Okay. So 1/8 is about right here. Cool. I don't think that's the maximum. I think the maximum is likely to be over here somewhere. Which is the cubic? It was 0 was the cubic. So it's going to be really, the maximum is going to be closer to 1. I'm thinking it's going to peak somewhere around there. Alright, and I think this is a pretty good plan for graphing out this function. So I'm going to come down, oops, I'm going to come down from here. I'm going to hit this point. Okay. I'm going to come through here. I'm going to get really steep. Okay. And I'm going to curve down to 1. Alright. And then I have to curve up to 2. Is that correct? I have to curve up to 2. Make it cubic. No, I have to keep going down. Why do I have that pointing up? That's a -16. I'm way wrong. So let's redraw this as not that pointing up. Let's redraw this as pointing down to -2. There we go. So now we're going to come up, pass through here. We're going to curve up here, pass through 0, come up kind of high, then come back down to 1, and then shoot down negatively like that. And there might be some weirdness happening in here, and I'd have to look at some more points and zoom in, maybe get a better scale and take a look at what's going on in here if I really want to know. But again, if I really want to know what's going on rather than just get an idea of the overall character, I've got this graph. I can plug it into my calculator, I can hit graph, and then I could go ahead and do a zoom box, the simplest of the zoom regions, right? And come over here to like -1 and scroll the Y up and go, alright, draw a little box from here to there and say, show me what's going on here. And it's going to come up. Oh, see, I got my hump on the wrong side here. And that 1/2, it wasn't the highest, but the highest is over here at 1/4. So what I really should have drawn is I should have taken this and drawn this approaching it more cubic-like. Remember, a cubic looks like this, so I want to draw this approaching more cubic-like. I want to come up like a cubic, come through here, come through 1/2, come up, turn, come down, and then just go straight down like that. And that's good. So cubic, and then like a linear route just goes through it like a line. And we didn't have any, but quadratic or any sort of squared, fourth, eighth, 32nd, whatever root looks like a parabola, and it's just when it's say 6th power, it would be a lot sharper, right? It would be smaller and it would turn a lot sharper. So we really do want to pay attention and say, oh look, that's a cubic root. It better come in here and behave like a cubic and do what's called a concavity change, where it's opening downward, right? And then it switches to opening upwards. And I better draw that when I'm graphing my function. Okay, that's it for this graphing. I'll see you for the next example.